How to protract in the planche. I've been getting asked this question so many times on Instagram that I finally decided to just make a YouTube video of that. So better listen up, because this comes from a guy that went from this protraction where you could visibly see his scapula when he was doing the planche to this protraction which just looks beautiful. So first of all, you need to understand what actually is activated, what muscles are actually working in the protraction. And this is pretty simple. It's your serratus anterior. It's right this muscle here. So what we need to understand is how do we actually activate this muscle for the protraction, and these are two movements. We go forward with the shoulder and then we press it down like here, okay? So forward with the shoulder, pressing it down. The pressing down movement is called scapular depression. So now where you know what muscle is actually engaged in the planche and how we activate it, I will give you some little tips that can help you to engage it even better. So first of all, many people make the mistake, they go into the planche and they look to the side with their elbow and their bicep is looking inward like this. But this is wrong, because you cannot really engage your anterior serratus and you don't have so much freedom in your movement. So what is much better is when you look forward with your bicep and backwards with your elbows like this, because now you can engage your anterior serratus way easier and you have more freedom in the actual movement. Also, this is more a psychological thing. When you go into the planche, do not think you need to lean more forward and forward and forward. Think you need to push the floor away from you. This way you will have so much more height. So most people think like forward, 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 and then they just fall. But the actual game changer is we go into the planche and we just try to have as much space between the floor and you. So to push the floor away from you. Okay, cool. So now you know which muscles are engaged, you know how to activate them, and you know those small little psychological advices I gave you. But how do you actually get a better protraction now, and how do you actually get strong on the planche? The best solution that I've come to is you have one day where you train volume. On this day, you focus more on the actual raw strength and not so much on the form. And you have one conditioning day. And on the conditioning day, you really focus on engaging the right muscle and having the right activation for your protraction. What I would personally recommend you is in the volume day, you can cheat a little bit with the form to gain more volume, to not limit yourself, but don't exaggerate. Try to keep a little bit of your scapular depression, of your protraction, right? Okay. And end the workout on your volume day always with an exercise like planche leans or something where you really feel your protraction, to end the training with a nice feeling, with the feeling of, okay, I understood the protraction well. And in the conditioning day, this is when we really focus on just getting the perfect form, where we really focus on engaging the right muscle, the right activation. And on this day, you have multiple exercises you can do to get a better activation, to get a better feeling of the protraction. And I will show you like the best 4 or 5 exercises you can do on this day. All right, so the first exercise that I recommend you doing on the conditioning day are planche lean presses. Not just normal planche leans, but planche lean presses. So you go into the normal planche lean, you hold it a bit, and then you go back. And then you go into the lean again. And you do this a few times. And we do presses and not just normal leans, because this way we can add more repetitions, we can understand the activation better, and we can just get more volume into it. By the way, before I move on with the conditioning day exercises, I want to give you a big advice on the volume day. When you really want to improve your protraction and you feel like on the volume day your protraction is just too bad, then listen, because you can just focus on the volume day also on your protraction. How do you do this? It's very simple. You do your combination. For example, you're currently at the straddle planche, and you can also only hold the straddle planche for 2 seconds with good form, but for 5 seconds with bad form. Then you will do the hold for 2 seconds, And when the hold gets worse, the protraction gets worse, after the third second, you just stop the hold, okay? And the best method to do this is you do a combination. You do straddle hold, perfect form, and you stop doing the straddle hold when the form gets worse. Then you do the L-sit, and then you do advanced tuck hold. Then you have extremely much volume and good form. So this would look like this. And when the form in the advanced tuck gets worse, like this, you just stop the hold. And then you do not get this habit of retracted or not having the perfect protraction in the planche, because you just stop the combination, you just stop the hold whenever the form gets worse. Okay, I'm cutting the video right now, and I've noticed I wasn't 100% clear with my point here. It was a bit confusing what you can do for bad form now and what you shouldn't do for bad form on a volume day. So volume day means you can do a bit of bad form to gain more volume. Okay, you lower the form, you lower the intensity of the exercise, and then you can do more repetitions, more volume. But when you want to have a better protraction, you can still do bad form on your volume day, but just take care of the form of your protraction. So you can, for example, what I do in the video, lower your legs in the straddle planche, or be in the slash position in the straddle or full planche, to just make the intensity lower and the exercise easier, so you can add more volume. But you shouldn't sacrifice your protraction. So when your protraction gets worse, just stop the hold. Another great exercise you can do is just taking the easiest progression you got. For example, you have a straddle hold, then just take the tuck hold and really focus on the protraction, on the right muscle activation. Do not care about hitting failure, do not care about gaining strength, just care about the right muscle activation, about the protraction, okay? And as soon as you lose a little bit of your protraction like this, you just stop the hold, and that's it. You can also do the same with banded holds. You can take a big band, do not focus on hitting failure here, do not focus on gaining strength, really focus on taking a band that is thick and focus on doing the right muscle activation. All right, so the last two exercises that I recommend you doing are pseudo push-ups, so planche lean push-ups, call them however you want to. Just lean forward, have a right activation in your scapula, go down and feel it again. And really focus on having a good projection here and holding it a little bit. Alright, so the last exercise I'm recommending you are scapular push-ups. And we do not make normal scapular push-ups. We lean forward and then do the scapular push-ups, because we try to imitate the actual planche as much as possible. So go into the planche lean, do not lean too much forward, otherwise it will be too hard. And then go into the retraction and then hold the protraction. And to make the exercise more difficult, you can just use a band, pull it behind your back, hold it on your hands and just do the same. Lean forward and you feel more tension against you. So to make that clear again, the conditioning day is not to actually get stronger. You will not magically get a full planche when you do pseudo push-ups or scapula push-ups or planche leans or something. The conditioning day is to condition your body to prevent injuries, of course, and to get the right activation, to understand the right activation of the protraction, of the lean, okay? So on the conditioning day, you understand the activation, you prevent injuries by conditioning your body. On the volume day, this is the day where you gain the strength, where you actually learn the new movement, where you learn how to perform the full planche, where you gain the strength. So conditioning is to condition your body, is to understand the right activation, and volume day is to gain the strength to actually get the full planche. Alright, so for the end, I have a little bonus tip that really was a game changer in my own journey. In the planche, to not retract, to really protract in the planche. Many of you, and me personally as well in the past, have the problem that we overlean and therefore we lose the protraction. To stop the overlean, we can simply squeeze in the part between your index and your thumb, so this part here. When you squeeze in this part, you don't overlean, you stop the overlean. All right, so now you know what muscle is actually engaged in the protraction. Now you know how to engage the right muscle. Now you know how to train actually for the protraction, what exercises to do on the conditioning day. If you have any other questions, just hit me up on Instagram with it or just write them down in the comments. And if you're interested in working one-on-one with me, just hit me up with a message on Instagram and I will get back to you. Thank you for watching.